You can tell everyone on television has been pronouncing this name. Nobody knows how to say this. And there's 3 Z's in it. 2 H's and 3 Z's. Zaporizhzhia. 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 I'm just going to say that. It's probably wrong, but I'm saying it. Because I don't want to constantly go, that one place that starts with a Z. I don't want to do that. But everybody on television has been practicing saying this, and it's hysterical because they're so careful when they say it, but they want to come off like they're familiar with this area. We have known all about Zaporizhzhia our whole lives. No, you haven't. You just heard it. You just heard about it last night. But kudos to you for trying to learn how to pronounce it correctly. I get, because you should. You're reporting on it. But it's still interesting. It's like watching drunk girls on the dance floor at a wedding receptions going along. Again, I use this all the time. But it's true. It's like watching them try to spell bananas in that one Hollaback song by Gwen Stefani, Hollaback Girl. And all the bridesmaids get out there. And this is like halfway through the reception when everyone's pretty well tanked. B-N-N-N-A-S. Zaporizhzhia. It's one of the largest nuclear power plants in Europe. There's 6 reactors there. It got caught in the crossfire of some shelling and all this other stuff. And then there were reports of a fire. Lucas Tomlinson, who has been reporting for Fox, is there. And there's been some Reuters reporters who have been, they've been really great, actually. They're like, look, the reactors are not ablaze. There's some administrative buildings entirely across the complex from this place that is on fire. The reactors are fine. Everybody calm down. Now, people were saying that it was, and by people, I mean the foreign minister of Ukraine, Dmytro Kuleba, he confirmed the fire, and he also said if it blows up, it's going to be 10 times larger than Chernobyl. You have to establish a security zone. You can't have this happening. And I get that. I know that there are emergency stops on the reactors, and people can shut them down. People were worried about them having the time to cool down, etc. And it is very, it's, you got to know what you know and know what you don't know. And there are a lot of people that don't know how nuclear reactors are, how this stuff is stored and how it operates. Yours truly included. Interestingly enough, we got an email from a sailor who works, this is his job, but I don't want to give his name because I get the impression, well, I don't think he's active duty anymore, but he was. Oh, no, still, yeah, I don't want to give his name. But he was explaining how this works, and I was putting this together with some other reporting on this because it was a really, I mean, he explained it out in really good layman's terms because some of it is, I mean, you really get into some chemistry and to some physics and all kinds of stuff with this. But he was saying that, and I was reading some other stuff on some mil-spec sites that were completely confirming everything this guy was saying. But normally when you have a threat that presents itself within the vicinity of any kind of like nuclear plant, this is one of the things that in this person's job, this sailor's job was literally dealing with the nukes on subs. That's a pretty hardcore job. And so he had said that he said that the misunderstanding that he wants to intercept is this idea that a reactor may detonate with a thermonuclear explosion. That's not going to happen. He said there's not going to be any kind of mushroom cloud in the sky. He said Ukrainians should shut down their plants as soon as the Russian threat presents itself. And when the reactor is shut down, the only thing that the plant produces, the only thing in the plant, rather, that produces heat is the decay of fission products in the reactor. This is where we're all like, oh, yes, the fission products. Yes, we know those products. We see them at Target, the fission products. He says, and that is less than 10% of its power history. Now, that makes sense. The way he explains it, though, seriously, it does make sense. He says the decay heat production, because as it's decaying, it's hot. The decay heat production dramatically reduces in the first 24 hours after shutdown. So the cooling requirements for the reactor drop off substantially. He adds, even if there is no power to provide cooling, safety features in the plant prevent damage to the reactor from occurring for even longer. He says this is not to say that providing cooling to the reactor while it is in shutdown isn't absolutely necessary. On the contrary, it is. But the longer it is shut down, he writes, the lower the risk. He says that the greatest risk to any reactor plant is a breach of containment vessel. Reactors produce both particulate and gaseous fission products, as well as hydrogen. Hydrogen, he says, is the detonation concern. He says the fission products are the contamination and radiation concern. If these are contained in containment vessels, the public is safe even if the damage to the reactor itself occurs. He writes, the reason why a reactor will not detonate like a thermonuclear bomb is because of a concept called critical geometry. He says it's a hefty physics discussion itself, but the short version is the shape of the fuel elements prevent it. Nuclear bombs are designed to detonate, so they do. Reactors are designed to be an easily cooled heat source, so the fuel density of a reactor is much lower than that of a bomb. He writes that he's been operating reactor plants on submarines for the Navy for 18 years. And the biggest difference between our naval reactors and civilian ones is that ours are designed to be taken into combat. And so our friendly sailor on the watch, we give him mega thanks. And I was asking a friend of mine who does not deal with nuke reactors on subs, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is a fascinating explanation. He was like, he is right on the money. He's like in the way he explained, he's got a lot of knowledge about this. He explained it so well. So that explain it. I mean, when you hear, I mean, I get it. You hear, oh my gosh, the nuclear plant is on fire. We're all going to die. It's going to be horrible. I get it. But let's all chill. Because we're not going to have Chernobyl times 10, and that's explanation why.